Good stuff coming up.
All right, always good stuff.
It's always good stuff.
Let's see. We should go 128. Ooh,
Oh, we'll hopefully finish today.
okay.
Significant amount of 124.
Celebrate this.
We're falling a little behind. It's okay.
It's okay. Anyway, whatever.
Okay, so we are on 124A,
Hey,
right in the middle. So there was a big debate between, one second, between Rebbe and the Rabbanon. If the property, improved after the death of the father, is that considered a ra'ui, or is that considered a muhsak? Rebbe was of the opinion that
Rawi and Muksa again.
ra'ui is things that are fitting to go to you,
Oh, okay.
and muhsak, chazak, strong.
Strong.
It's already there. You have a strong grip on it.
Okay.
It's by you.
Okay.
A bechor, a firstborn, only inherits things that are muhsak, things that are already by the father. So Rebbe said any land which improves after the father on its own, any land that on its own was improved. So, for example, the cow that gave birth, that was on its own, and nobody helped it out. That the bechor gets a double portion. The Rabbanan argued. So we started yesterday. Maybe we'll start from there. My time out the Rabbanan. Why do the Rabbanan say that it's that even if the property improves after the death of the father, the firstborn does not receive a double portion? Amar Kra, la seislo pishnayim. The Torah phrases it in a way of sounds like a present, matana. La seislo, to give to you. I'm giving it to you. I'm gifting it to you. Matana kerach matana ad demat yeliyadeh. Avchelik bechora ad demat yeliyadeh. Just like a matana, which is which it's only yours once the matana goes into your hand. So too, the bechor, which is phrased like a matana, only whatever goes into your hand is going to be considered fitting enough to bequeath to the firstborn. However, what about Rebbe? What does Rebbe do with that? Rebbe says even, our cow, Betty the cow that, gave birth after the father died, so the firstborn does receive that double portion of the baby. That baby wasn't there when the father was alive. But Rebbe Amar Kra, a different verse says, Pi Shnayim, the bechor gets a double portion, meaning he gets two portions. We're comparing the portion he gets as a non-firstborn to the portion he gets as a firstborn. Just like your portion you get as a non-firstborn, that you can get even when it's ra'ui, even when it's fitting to go to the father. There, that's yours. You don't have to wait till the father actually has it in his possession. Since the Torah compares the two, so therefore even your firstborn portion will be similar to your non-firstborn portion, and there is it meaning it's not going to be exactly the same because your non-firstborn portion you can inherit if it's ra'ui, if it's fitting to go to the father. Your firstborn, it has to be muksik, has to be already by the father. So why does the Torah compare the two by calling it shnayim? It sounds like two portions, two of the same portion, to teach you that there's going to be a case that they're similar. In the event that the cow gave birth or the land improved on its own after the death of the father, that could also be considered like it was already by the father. Nobody improved it. Nobody went and improved it. It did it on its own. So it's like sometimes you're told not to judge a person by what he's doing, about his potential. What could he do? So inside this cow is the ability to go give birth to another cow. So you can view that already on some level as it was already, that was also by the father. The father owned the cow, and any potential within the cow, the father also owned. If the orphans went and they built with the money brand new houses, so now you're taking the money that the father had, and now you're creating something new. So we're going to be going back and forth for a while about this. Things that are viewed on the one hand, the potential was there, but the actualization wasn't there. How do you view that? So Rebbe only views it because of a verse. Logically, Rebbe would agree. Sounds like that. We wouldn't say this, but he brings a verse to prove it. Okay. So the Rabbanon who disagree, but they also have to learn this idea of Pishnayim, that you get a double portion, comparing the two portions, the portion of the firstborn to the portion you get as a non-firstborn. Rabbanon nami haksiv Pishnayim. So what do you do with that? It also says Pishnayim. There's some comparison between the firstborn portion and your non-firstborn portion. For what are those two things compared? Oh, says the Rabbanon, lemisvale echad mitzra, that the firstborn will get two portions. What do you mean that they're compared? How are they compared? They're both going to be in the same location. We're going to give you two portions in the same area. Just like your regular portion you get in a certain area, so too, your double portion you will get next to your regular portion. So the Rishbam explains that when you do the lottery to see, you and your brothers do a lottery to see which land you're going to get. So that land that falls to you as the Bechor, so without doing another lottery, you'll get the land that's right next to it. So if there's, two brothers and four portions of land, two brothers and four portions of land, so then you will get a regular portion. The other two brothers will also get a regular portion. And the fourth portion you will get will be next to your regular portion. Yeah. So that's what the Rabbanim say. The Rebbe Nami, Rebbe also says, it says, Lasei Slow. What does Rebbe do with the Rabbanon's verse of Lasei Slow that the Rabbanon learned out? It has to be similar to a present. Only until it gets into your hand is it yours. Rebbe doesn't agree to that logic, but what does it do with the pasuk? It says Lasei Slow. It says Lasei Slow teaches you that just like a present, you're allowed to refuse the present, right? Someone gives you a present, you can say no, thank you. So hu she'im amar any notav any no sein rishai. So too by the firstborn, we learned yesterday you're able to reject it. You say I don't want the firstborn, and you could reject it. Im amar any notav any no sein rishai. That's it. It's not mine anymore. Okay. Here comes the case that everyone's going to agree on. Amar of Papa, a rare occurrence. Everyone's agreeing. Amar of Papa, Dikla ve'alim, or Ara ve'asik sirton. So Dikla, the father leaves over some kind of small tree, and it gets a little fatter. The tree itself grows a little bit. Or he leaves over a piece of land, and it grows some sediment, some fertilizer, right? And it improves by that. So now this is land or a tree that the father left, and now it got a little better. It improved in some way. That says Rav Papa, Tikuli Amalo Pligi, the Shakil. That even the Rabbanan, who don't let you take the double portion of the cow that gave birth, but by this the Rabbanan will agree. Why? What's the difference over here? He says, this is mamish the same thing. It's the same tree. By the cow that gave birth to another cow, that's already a separate entity. The separate entity came from the entity that the father owned. So there's a lot of potential there to have that child. So that was a dispute. How do you view that case of potential? But in this case, it's the same tree. So that tree that got a little better, that you still view as that's the father's tree. So even though it improved a little bit, we don't view the improvement as a brand new thing. Rather, it's just it's that tree, and therefore everyone's going to agree. Rebbe and the Rabbanan are going to agree that the firstborn will get a double portion of this newly improved tree. Ki pligi be chafura. They disagree when it was bechafura v'havei shovle or shlufufe v'havu tamarim. So what are these two cases? So chafura v'havu shovle, where he leaves like a little a shachas is a little seed, shoots of grain, and then you make it into stalks of grain. Alternatively, you have a little bit of a by the dates, the small little date seed, and then it grows into a
They blossomed, they developed into dates.
Right. So you have like the beginning, the little
Right.
seed or the very beginning, and then all of a sudden it grows into a beautiful date tree. So that they're going to argue because that in both of these cases, once again, the first case is you have the shoots of grain, they became stalks of grain. So that's the same kind of thing. The stalks of grain is a new thing. You don't call stalks of grain shoots of grain. On the other hand, it came from the shoot. Similarly, if you have a little bit of a date, the small little seed, which now became into a beautiful date tree. So that's the same thing. You don't call a date tree a date seed. You call it a date tree. However, that's what they're going to argue when it improves like that. Totally. It improves on its own. However, when the same thing got a little better, the tree got a little fatter, the ground got a little more fertilized, that everyone's going to agree. Because that's not a new thing anymore. That's still called the tree. You still call it the land. You just improve land. It's not a brand new thing. So three categories. One is if the thing remains its name. So land that got a little more improved is called land. So that everyone agrees, the Bechor gets a double portion. Things that improve on their own, and turn into something new. A cow that gives birth, a date seed that becomes a date tree, or a shoot of grain that becomes a stalk of grain. That's a machlokas Rebbe and the Rabbana. And the third category is if the Yisomim go and it's man-made improvement. You go and you take the money and you invest it, and now you build a brand new house. Everybody agrees that in that case, you do not receive a double portion. So, okay. Amar Rabba Bar Chana, Amar Abchia. Okay, so now after this discussion, in terms of who the halacha accords with, we're obviously going to have a dispute. So, Amar Rabba Bar Chana, Amar Abchia. Interestingly, Asa Kedivrei Rabbi, Asa. Kedivrei Chacham, Amar Abchia, Asa Kedivrei Rabbi, Asa Kedivrei Chachamim, Asa. You can go either way. He said you can go, if you go like him, it's good. If you go like them, it's also good. So now, what was he unsure about? Usually we want clarity. Halacha is like Rebbe. Halacha is like the Chachamim. But here he sounds like he's not sure about something. And therefore, if you end up paskening, you end up saying the halacha is like him, and you tell a guy, take the firstborn of the newborn cow, or you tell him, don't take the firstborn of the newborn. The firstborn does not receive the double portion of the newborn cow. So either way, that will be the halacha. So usually, we don't find that so often. So what was he so unsure about? I'm turning the page.
Just the fork of the road, and you can go either way, and it doesn't matter.
That's right. So it matters a little bit. So
right, comes together like that.
So Misaf Kollel, interestingly enough, the Gemara in Eruvin goes through different rules, and we always wondered. There's so many opinions in the Gemara. So how'd they decide? So it wasn't random. There's rules to everything. So one of the rules is it depends who argues with who. Certain people, for instance, Rav Meir and Rav Yehuda. Rav Meir and Rav Yehuda, halacha in most times like Rav Yehuda. Sometimes you have these a singular opinion versus a majority opinion, things like that. So there's another rule like that. Rebbe was so great that the rule is that when Rebbe argues with one of his comrades, it's one-on-one, Rebbe always wins. I'm sure he always has some exceptions, but that's the general rule. So now, Misaf Kollel, so this, who was speaking this, Rabbi Bar Chana said in the name of Rav Chia, what was Rav Chia not sure about? The halacha is, if Rebbe argues with one of his comrades, halacha is like Rebbe. So he wasn't sure like this. I halacha k'Rebbe mechavero, v'lo mechavero. When the Gemara said there, the halacha is like Rebbe, more than his friends. Was it just a way of saying it's always like Rebbe? Not only of his friend, of anybody he argues with. Halacha is always like Rebbe. He was such a prominent person. Or no, the Gemara was very exact. The halacha is like Rebbe, more than one of his friends. Mechavero. Chavero is singular. The afilu mechaverav. So I flipped it. Is halacha k'Rebbe v'lo mechaverav? The extra yud vav at the end makes a plural. So is halacha like Rebbe from his friend and not from his friends? And therefore, if that's true in this case, it was Rebbe against the Chachamim. Chachamim were a lot of people. The halacha will be like the Chachamim. Oh, halacha k'Rebbe mechaverav ve'afilu mechaverav. Not only is it halacha is like when it's one-on-one, but even when it's one-on-many, the halacha is still like Rebbe. You have to know exactly. Usually, it's when it's one against a majority. The halacha is like the majority. So you have to know why the other side over here, really holds weight. Meaning, why would that side break the rules? So sometimes the Gemara does say that the halacha will go like a single opinion if he's a very straight line of reasoning. He has the better logic. If you have better logic, sometimes even though you're a singular opinion, but you could win over majority opinion. In fact, we mentioned this briefly, but Rebbe himself, when he compiled the Mishnayos, sometimes he would leave the opinions anonymous. Why? I think Rashi and Beitza says because it was a singular opinion. So if you would mention it, you'd say, oh, it's only a singular opinion. So he left it anonymous for you to think that maybe it's like the majority opinion. But you see that sometimes even a singular opinion, people will side with that opinion if that's the one that they feel is right. Okay. Yeah. Oh my goodness is right. Okay, so keep going. So don't worry, it gets better.
It gets better.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
So it was the wrong day to prepare in the morning, not in the afternoon. This next one. Yeah, okay, let's see. So you have to help me. Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Rav, Osir Lasos Kedivrei Rebbe. Oh, so Rav Nachman says in the name of Rav, it's Osir Lasos Kedivrei Rebbe. You're not allowed to accord the halacha like the opinion of Rebbe. So what does he hold? Kasavar halach Rebbe mechavero v'lo mechavero. Halacha is like Rebbe and not like his, and now it's only like Rebbe when he argues with one other person, but it's not like Rebbe when he argues with many other people. In this case, he argues with many other people. Therefore, the halacha is not like him. Rav Nachman, Rav Nachman, the day Amar, Rav Nachman himself held mutter lasos kedivrei Rebbe. Rav Nachman himself held you can do like Rebbe. Kasavar, he held halacha keRebbe mechavero v'afilu mechaverav. So a dispute, how to paskin, how to accord the halacha within this dispute. There's a dispute about a dispute. Yeah. So I'm sure there's also another dispute on how you hold in terms of that dispute. Meaning, how do we go like Rav Nachman or Rava? So, okay. Amar Rava. Asur lasos kedivrei Rebbe. Okay, Rava says, Asur lasos kedivrei Rebbe. However, interestingly, you can't do like Rebbe. If you go to the rabbi, say, Rabbi, what do I do? I have a firstborn. Betty the cow gave birth after the father died. He wants a portion of the baby cow. So, Rabbi, what do I do? Rabbi says he has to tell the guy, Chachamim, you do not get that firstborn. However, let's say the rabbi was overconfident, and or the guy was overconfident, or the rabbi didn't know the halacha, and he just gave him the cow. Let's say he just gave him the cow. He thought he made a mistake. Im asa asui. However, if he did it, then the guy can keep it.
Okay.
So if you ask originally, you don't get the cow.
Better ask for forgiveness and permission.
That's right. Better ask for forgiveness and permission.
Exactly.
Right. Like I would say, just don't tell me before. Tell me after you do whatever you have to do. So, v'im asa asui. So now, what does he hold? He did this like a split. He holds like he says asa to like Rabbi, but if you do it, it works. Kasavar matin. He says of this principle called matin. Matin is literally to lean, to lean towards. So they were meaning when they were discussing this in the Beis Medrash, they were very much leaning towards the Chachamim, but without coming to a conclusive decision. So they were leaning towards the Chachamim, and therefore, if someone asks you originally what to do, it wasn't like a totally full doubt 50-50. Well, because if it was 50-50, then you can't say also to do like Rebbe, because it's 50-50. It was like, 80-20, 90-10. They were like really, really sure about it, but not 100% sure. So therefore, if you did it already, they can't take it away from you. However, they can tell you originally not to do it.
That always throws me whenever you run into those.
That's right.
Which we do very frequently.
Okay, so buckle your seatbelt then. Itmar, Tani Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman said, Bishar Sifrei de Rav. Rav Nachman's now quoting the other books of Rav. So this is interesting. So we know we have something called midrashim. We've heard of midrashim, right?
Right.
So now we know something called a brisa. Brisa are same time as the Mishnayos, but excluded. Bra means outside. It was excluded outside the Mishnayos. Now the Gemara has different names for the midrashim on the different books of the Torah. For instance, the Mechilta is a collection of brisos on the book of Shmos. Torah's Kohanim is a collection of brisos on Vayikra. So Sifra. So when it says Bishar Sifrei de Beirav, it's referring to brisos like the Sifra, which is the brisos of Torah's Kohanim on Vayikra. Now Shar Sifrei de Beirav, the Sifri, the sefer called the Sifri, is the midrashim, the brisos, as we know the midrashim, the Tanaic teachings on Bamidbar and Devarim. So now it says Rav Nachman's quoting from the other books of the Academy of Rav. So those earlier brisos on the different books of the Torah. So what does it say over there? So he's quoting now the one on this is pasuk in Devarim. So he's quoting the Sifri. The Sifra is Vayikra. The Sifri is Bamidbar and Devarim. Mechilta is Shmos. Precious, not sure. So this, by the way, just to throw in over here, that the Rishbam points out that we just spoke about the different rules, how you accord the halacha. So he points out here, when you have anonymous Mishnah, it goes like Rav Meir. If you have a Sifra, so something from the book of Vayikra, a brisa dealing with the book of Vayikra, and it's anonymous, it goes like Rabbi Yehuda. Stam Sifri, let's say if you have anonymous brisa in the books of Bamidbar and Devarim, so that goes Stam Sifri like Rabbi Shimon. You have another set of brisas called Seder HaOlam, which is quoted numerous times. That's like Rabbi Yossi. Then we have sometimes something called a Tosefta. They're often found on the back of the Gemaras. They're our brises on the Gemaras that were excluded. So often when you see a brisa quoted, not always, but often you can find in the back in its own sefer called Tosefta. Now, who are all these people? They were all students. V'kulan aliba de Rabbi Akiva. These are all students of Rabbi Akiva. So you see when Rabbi Akiva restarted with 5 students, you see the power that he had. All the anonymous brises and Mishnayos and Toseftas, if it's anonymous, it all goes like the students of Rabbi Akiva, all like Rabbi Akiva. So when they say the Gemara says when he lost 25,000 students, it says the world was totally desolate. When there's no Torah, the world itself is desolate. So these 5 students, he rebuilt the world. But you see, in halacha, we even acknowledge that it always goes like Rabbi Akiva. It's interesting. Okay, wow. So Sifri, Vayikra, Devarim, it says the following: B'chol asher yimatzei lo. It's talking about the firstborn, anything which will be found by him. So what's that coming to exclude? Anything which is found by him. The Bechor gets whatever's found by his father, as opposed to what? What's not found by his father? Prat, to exclude 124b, maybe 10 lines down. So Prat le hishbichu, Prat le shvach shehishbichu yorshim, coming to exclude the shvach, the improvement that the yorshim did la'achar mitzvahs avihem. Aval shvach sheshibchu nechasim li'achar mitzvahs avihem shakil. So anything that the orphans improved on their own, the Bechor does not get a double portion. Anything that the land itself improved without the Yisomim, without the orphan's input, that the firstborn does get a double portion. Who is this like? Umani. Rebbe is just like Rebbe. So we found another brisa that accords with Rebbe. Fantastic. So maybe that's why we held Rebbe's even over his colleagues. I don't know. Okay. We have a brisa supporting him. That helps sometimes. One against many, but you have other sources that support you. So that would be helpful. Don't know. Tani Rami Bar Chama, Bishar Sifrei de Beirav. So he also taught in the other books of the Beirav, these other halachic brises. That's a better way to say it. We have agadic midrashim and halachic midrashim. The halachic midrashim are referred to as Sifra Sifri Torah. And then there's the agadic midrashim. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. What does he say? Same verse. Anything which is found by him, by the father. Prat, as opposed to what? Prat it's coming to exclude anything which improved after the father died. Anything which improved after the father died is not included in the verse that it is found by the father. For sure, not only if the land itself improved, does the firstborn not to receive it, but even for sure things that the Yisumim themselves, the orphans themselves, they invested in and improved, that for sure the firstborn's not going to get. So who's that like? Umani Rabbanon he. So you bring me a brisa from the same place, like Rabbi, I'll bring you from the same place a brisa like the Rabbanon. So, so we cancel each other out. Yeah. So now, okay, here comes a whole new part of a firstborn. Very seemingly complicated in understanding, but hopefully we'll get through it. So far we spoke about things that are very. The cow gave birth, the land improved, the seed produced, the shoot produced a stalk of grain. How are you going to deal now with things like interest, things like a loan, right?
Right.
So we touched upon a little bit. What?
No interest.
What about from an idolater? Or it's mutter to take interest? No, okay, good. It happened. Yeah. So a document has a loan document. Mm-hmm. So on the one hand, you have a document here, right, and you're holding the document. So you definitely have something here.
Right.
But the money from the loan that he never got. So is that ro'ui? Is that something which is coming to him, or is that muchzak? Remember, the example of ro'ui that usually is if you would inherit from somebody if they were to die first. Except instead of them dying first, that person died first. So if the son would have received from the father the inheritance, if Avram and Yitzchak. So if Avram would have died, Yitzchak gets it. Instead, Yitzchak died first, right? So now, and then Avram died. So Yaakov, Yitzchak's son, he's like, listen, if everything would have worked out the way I thought it was going to work out, so then I would have, my father would have received his father's inheritance. So I want that inheritance. Okay, but so when you're Bechor, that's called Ro'ui. What would have gone to your father, that doesn't work. Versus Muchzak is, the father died, the son got it, son died, the grandson gets it. That's for sure there. So now we're going to have cases that are somewhere in the middle. And these long rush bombs, we have to review them a little bit to get it clear, but let's see. Okay, first opinion. Amr Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel, Ein Bechor Notel Pishnayim B'milveh. Okay, says Rabbi Yehuda in the name of Shmuel that a Bechor does not receive the double portion when it comes to a loan. So the firstborn's father died, and the firstborn's father was owed $100,000. So he was owed. The document said Jimmy owes me $100,000, and then lo and behold, the father died. So now the son has this document saying Jimmy owes me $100,000. So okay, but listen, I have 5 brothers. So how are you going to split it? Each one's going to get $20,000, or we're going to split up into 6 portions. They're going to get 4, and I'm going to get 2. So whatever that math's going to, however it's going to work out. Eina b'char notel pishnayim b'milveh. Says the Gemara, who are you going like? We have 2 opinions that we've seen so far: Rebbe and the Rabbanon. So liman, according to who is this statement of Shmuel going like? So let's go one by one. Ilay Malay Rabbanon, who never agree, not never. In most cases, they do not agree that you can get anything after the father dies. Only the actual ground or the actual tree that improved a little bit, that they agree. But anything that is a total improvement, that the Rabbanon say that the firstborn does not receive. So Ilay Malay Rabbanon, let's do some logic. Hashta shvacha de isay birshusay, even the improvement that is in the father's own domain, meaning the cow went and gave birth. It's the father's cow, and it went and gave birth. Amir Rabbanon lo shakil. Even that they say that you don't get a double portion of. Milveh mibayi. Do you have to teach you that they don't get a double portion of the loan? I mean, the loan is much farther removed from the person's possession than the cow itself. That money right now is, you have a document, which is important. You have a document, but the money itself is in someone else's possession, is in Jimmy's possession. Jimmy hasn't given you the money yet. So if my cow, which is in my possession, gives birth to baby cow, and that the Rabbanan say, nope, that's considered already ra'ui, that's not considered like you actually own it already. For sure, if Jimmy has money, I can't get the portion of Jimmy's money. Jimmy's not actual person, Jared. It's just a kind of ours in the story. Okay, so it's early in the morning. I have to do things to wake people up, So I don't have a fire bell on me. So oh, that would be helpful. So okay. So I'm done. Here we go.
I was already in the cold plunges.
Do you really? You were well.
I should be more awake.
You should be. Gotta pick on Jared. It's too fun. No. So just kidding. Amri Rabbanan lo shakil. So lo shakil milvemi bai. Okay. So what's the other option? Let's go to Rebbe. Elo the Rebbe. Rebbe's Mr. Whatever improves, and if as long as it's not man-made improvement in the estate, it'll go to the firstborn. So Elo the Rebbe. So maybe go like Rebbe. That'd be great. What's the problem? The Elo Hadatanya. The Brisa told us Yarshu Shtar Chov. If you inherited a loan document, Bechor Notal Pishnayim, Bain B'milva, Bain B'ribis. The problem is that the Brisa says if you inherit a loan document, then you get a double portion, whether it's a loan or even if there's interest on it. Okay, so one sec. So why can't I go like Rabbi? Sounds good. Why can't I go like Rebbe? Sorry. It's like it says Eina Bechor Notal B'Shnayim B'milva. The Bechor doesn't get the firstborn portion of a loan, but the Brisa says that the Brisa is not that way. The Brisa says that you do get the firstborn, whether it's a loan and whether it's even interest from the loan. So and Rebbe goes like that Brisa. So Rebbe himself, who holds that you do inherit a double portion of things that accrued after the father died, so he agrees that even by a loan document, that's still considered a muksak. It's still considered like it's yours. You have the document in your hand. Mm-hmm. So who's of the opinion that says you do not receive a double portion of a loan document? If it's the Rabbanan, it's totally unnecessary because they're much more strict than this. Even a cow that gives birth, they don't agree. So there's no novelty teaching me this. That's obvious. You want to tell me it's Rebbe? It's just not true in Rebbe's world. In Rebbe's world, you would receive a double portion of the loan document. So who does it go like? So La'olam, really, you have to find the place. Where is it? Oh, La'olam L'Rabbanan. Really, it goes like the Rabbanan. It goes like the Rabbanan. But we asked the Rabbanan, this is obvious. The Rabbanan agree that a cow that gives birth, it goes to you. That it doesn't go to you. For sure, a loan document shouldn't go to you. La'olam L'Rabbanan. It goes like the Rabbanan. The Itzrich. Oh. But I'll teach you a novelty in the case of a loan document that without this novelty, you would think that the Rabbanan would agree that you would receive a double portion. So I'm going to teach you a novelty, and I'm going to show you that really you would have thought even the cow that gives birth, you do not get a double portion, but a loan you would. Kamash Malan, I'm teaching you a loan you don't. Why would you think that a loan document is different? And this gets into like exactly how we view a document a little bit. You would have thought, if I didn't tell you this, you would have thought in the world of the Rabbanan, who hold that anything that's accrued, almost anything that's accrued after the death of the father, there's no double portion. It's all considered roi, fitting. It's not considered muksa. It's not considered like it's yours already. Milva, a loan. Havon denakit shtara. Since you have the document in your hands, view the document not just as a point of reference of who owes you money. The document is much more significant. It's like you can see the money in the document already. The document is holding the loan within the document. That's its power. Kevan de nukit shtara. Since you have the document, it's kiman de gavya damya. It's as if you already collected the loan. Why? Let's think. What's stopping you from getting this loan? Showing up to the rabbi saying, look at my document. Right? So it's a practical thing that's stopping you. But halachically, if you have the document already, the money's in your bank. Now you have to just go and get it. If you get a lottery ticket and you win the lottery, so is the money yours or not yours?
Yours, yeah.
Okay, but it's not yours. Look in your bank account. It's not yours. Well, you have to go and get it, but it's already been awarded to you. So how do you view things that are awarded to you, but you haven't actually went and picked up? Is that considered like it's already in your account? Just practically, it's a practical thing. But in halacha, it's already yours. So we're saying now that you would have thought that since I'm holding the document saying Jimmy owes me $100,000, so it's mine already. I have two witnesses here signing it.
Unless
Jimmy
Jimmy went broke and they didn't have any money.
I'll collect his land from him.
Okay.
And if not his, then his children's land.
Okay.
And I'm going to keep going until I get my land back, right?
Okay.
So if I walk around with a document with two witnesses on it, I'm a powerful man, right? So that's what you would have thought. Kamash Malan, come on. At the end of the day, it's only a document, and since it's only a document, it's not enough to be considered like it's mamish yours. The Rabbanan hold has to be mamish in the father's account. As good as close as you are to the money, we hold the muksak. It's got to be money in the bank.
Be there.
Right. I almost did the dishes. I had the sponge in the stove. I was so close. It's not gonna fly, right? The cleaner than not clean.
Almost doesn't count.
This is my place to vent all my personal struggles.
That's the expression. Almost doesn't count.
Almost doesn't count, right? So it's really a bad example because here it's more than almost.
Yeah.
It really is yours, but in the rules of a bechor getting a double portion, it's there it's not enough. Yeah. Okay. Good. So Kamash Malan. So Shalchu Misam. They sent from over there. So over there. Where's over there? From Eretz Yisrael? Okay, they sent from over there. So I'm guessing Eretz Yisrael, but maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, where's over there? There's no previous place mentioned in the Gemara. I don't know. Okay. Shalchu Misam Eretz Yisrael. Okay. From over there. Yeah. So they sent from Eretz Yisrael. Bechor notel pishnayim b'milva. So they say a firstborn does collect a double portion of a loan that was that the father had a loan document. He passed that on to his children. Now they have Jimmy, the document saying that Jimmy owes them $100,000. However, avalo beribis. So Steve was right. Ribis is no good. Yeah, we don't do ribis. They point out that ribis, reish beis, reish beis, yud, and saf. If you flip the letters, it's bris. Bris is a covenant. So it's only usher to do ribis with people that are in your covenant. People that are outside the covenant, there's no prohibition. Okay, so that's how you're gonna remember it, or not. So avalo beribis.
So it wouldn't apply to the Rambam says a Muslim is not an idolater. So it says idolater, right? So would you do it to a Muslim too?
It's funny. The Rambam. Okay, this needs more explanation. I don't know explanation.
But
His language is it's a mitzvah to do to take interest from non-Jews. I believe. I have double checked.
Okay.
But it's interesting. He's like, it's a mitzvah. Everyone's like, it's a mitzvah. It's not a mitzvah. It's either it's mutter or it's usher. But he has like this.
Yeah, it's a whole nother. That's a whole nother.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting you mentioned about Muslim. Yeah, that's interesting.
I don't know. The thought popped into my head when it said idolater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you're right. Okay.
I just a question.
He means idolater, not non-Jew. I don't know. Yeah.
Question based on that. Like,
good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Jerry just was showing off that he knows a lot of Rambam. Okay, so it's fine.
I don't know anything.
He knows about Rambams and this, and about Muslims and idolaters and this. Okay, so yeah. Hopefully none of those people are listening to the recording. Okay,
you have to be careful what you say about it.
That's right. I'm not voting for you for mayor for council anymore. So
good thing I'm not running.
I was gonna write you in though.
600
I'm gonna write you in.
That's it. Avalo beribis. Somebody just told me yesterday that in the Catskills there's a city where like there's a yeshiva there. So the bachrim in the yeshiva, they comprised, like the majority of the city, all these very small towns.
Yeah.
Now apparently in that town, you vote for the fire chief. So the Bachram in Yeshiva voted in the Rosh Yeshiva as the fire chief. Somebody told me yesterday.
Oh.
So he was fire chief for a day, then he resigned.
uh,
So you never know.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So, yeah, so you never know who's going to vote you in.
You're serious about fire Belgium, yeah.
That's right. The chair, you got to be careful.
we all got together and put it in their name.
So yeah, so says this, they sent from Eretz Yisrael that you can get a double portion of the firstborn of a low beribis, but any interest. So you loaned a loan of $100,000 to Jimmy, but you want back $200,000. So the firstborn will get a double portion of the $100,000. However, that extra $100,000, that he won't get a double portion. That'll be split, so whatever, if he has 4 brothers, they'll split the extra $100,000 in 6 portions. They'll get 4 and he'll get 2. They'll split it 5 ways. He'll get equal to everybody else. As opposed to the actual interest, that will be split, 5 brothers. So in 6 portions, they'll get 4 and he will get 2. So now we're saying, who does this go like? Liman. According to who's this opinion? So, no way. The Rabbanon hold that you don't get even the cow that gives birth, you don't get for sure. Any loan you won't get. Same as we just said 2 seconds ago. The Rabbanon say anything which is in your domain that accrues after the father dies, you do not get a double portion. For sure, if the money's by Jimmy, you for sure won't get a double portion of that. So, okay, so who do you left with? Maybe like Rebbe. But if it's like Rebbe should say you get the loan and the interest. Why does the Gemara say you only get the double portion of the loan, but you don't get the interest? Elo the Rebbe. Ula Rebbe beribis lo. Rebbe doesn't agree that you get ribis. V'hatanya Rebbe Omer. Rebbe himself says, Bechor notel pishnaim, bein b'milva, bein beribis. Explicit statement of Rebbe saying, whether it's the interest, whether it's the loan or the interest, the Bechor will get a double portion of both. Says the Gemara, same logic as before. Lolam Rabbanon. We really go like the Rabbanon. And this time we're going to argue. This opinion says that the Rabbanon will agree what we would have thought in the previous line. That what? That a milva is commanded gavidami. The document is good enough. The document is as if you collected it. Here almost is good enough. So 2 opinions within the Rabbanon who don't agree about the cow giving birth, you get a portion of that, but is a document so strong that it's like already money in the bank? It's already like considered like it's collected or not? To be continued.
But what about the interest again? You can't get that.
Yeah, but not the interest.
Not the interest.
Good. Well, maybe we'll start from there tomorrow.
Okay.
Wow.
Yes, you pause.
Yeah. Oh, good.